You know, if we're going to talk a lot of nonsense while we're off camera, we might as well turn on the camera.
Let's get this show going, man.
Welcome to the Bleeding Burgundy podcast, a Washington Commanders podcast for fans, by fans, with your hosts, Jesse Martin.
The Cowboys are finished, you understand me?
John Taman.
Pull down my trousers and do your job.
Scott Hartley.
That was dreadful.
And occasionally, Keith Gregg.
So many social engagements, so little time.
And now, your host.
Hi, I am your host. I am Scott Hartley. Wait a minute. That's Scott Hartley down beneath me. If I was Scott Hartley, we'd have to... Right, so we don't know. I'm not Scott Hartley. And he goes second anyway, because over there is my good friend Jesse. Hey, I got it right today. Hot damn. Mark this down. Episode 201. When I decided to try to point at somebody on my screen, I actually got it in the right spot. That's pretty fucking good. Took me, I don't know what, about 150 episodes to learn how to do that. How you doing, Jesse?
Fantastic. Sorry, a little late, everybody. You know, when you get home from work, nice long hot fucking day, and you just want everything to work, and when shit doesn't work, it's frustrating. So
They have medicine for that.
my computer just wanted to. It's time to restart. I mean, I've put this restart off probably for the past 100 episodes.
There you go.
So it told me to fuck off. We're doing it right now.
Right. That's right. And it cleaned out all your double penetration videos, didn't it?
Yeah.
I noticed that you've got your hat on like a Joe douchebag today. Good for you. It's a brand new look for you. There you are. Speaking of Joe douchebags, there's my good friend down at the bottom.
That's the only way I can wear this hat. Like that's kind of like Kyle.
Okay. I think you should sell advertising on the bottom of the brim. I just can't wear a flat brim hat. I think I would.
No.
I don't wear hats at all.
Looking as dumb as you can be. Our good friend Scott Hartley. And how are you, mate?
I'm good. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, finished. Another week's done, but I'm in work tomorrow, so only for a few hours. But yeah, it's all good. I'm sporting a lovely new T-shirt that my wife has bought me for Father's Day. So thank you very much. I appreciate it, and she's in the chat with us today as well. Funny enough, yeah, we were just having a cultured discussion there about jazz and about classical music before the old hillbilly rolled in, and he's here now.
He came in and started talking about Flat and Scruggs.
So is your Father's Day different than our Father's Day?
It must be, yeah. It must be. And Mother's Day is completely different, yeah. So Father's Day
is on June 16th.
Yeah. So it's this Sunday, I think, for us, isn't it? I think it's this Sunday.
It was next Sunday, not this Sunday, but next Sunday.
Someone tell me, if Karen, if you're in the chat still, tell me, is it this Sunday? I'm pretty certain it's this Sunday, but I might be wrong. It might be worldwide the 16th.
That is a nice gift from.
It's a very nice gift. I would say
nice.
might maybe offered you to get some mini helmets back there to take over that little paltry collection.
No, they're there forever now, John.
They're cute. They are cute. What was I going to ask you? I was going to ask you something, but I can't remember what it was. By the way, the Baltimore Orioles are still flying high and still rolling, so I got my T-shirt on.
She's just said in the chat there, Jesse, no, it's the same. He just wanted to open it. So, okay, that's fine.
See the W. Hold that W up. A big shirt. The way they do T-shirts now, everything is so effing big. All right, but your W looks like a pair of pointy, saggy tits, and that really.
Well, no, that is just my saggy tits, John. You got it right the first time.
I've got you. All right. So, was there any Commanders news at all this week?
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Happy birthday to Deuce, because that's Commanders news.
Yes.
Absolutely, Deuce. Well, we got rid of kicker Brandon McManus.
Well, that's right. We got rid of the
news.
That's right. The international stalker.
Big news.
And
so, did we sign a kicker?
Yes, we did. He's called Ramiz Ahmed. He was formerly of the UFL. Hold your horses, guys. He was Chris Blewett. He was I don't think so. He was backup to Chris Blewett. So we all know how that went.
If Blewett beat him out,
couldn't beat Blewett out of a job.
He couldn't beat him out of a job. So this guy is literally here, John, for another 11. Well, what are we on the 7th now? So he's here for another 10 days before we can speak to the other UFL kickers.
I got to tell you, I think for place kicker, Big Doug could beat Blewett out of a job. How does this guy not beat Blewett out of a job? And I know that was a bad joke, and I know Big Doug, he'll get it. And I think he would agree with me as well.
He'd be okay. He'd be okay with that.
You would. You agree with me? I know, because how do you not beat out Chris Blewett? My God, I think really could stand outside and throw a rock, and anybody that it hits could beat out Chris Blewett.
Honestly, so this guy, I mean, weirdly enough, though, I did hear and listen to John Kai's pod, and he said when the media were there, he kicked 8 out of 8 field goals, and one of them was from 45.
There you go.
I was like, well, you're kicking against nobody, so in an
8 out of 8, still 8 out of 8.
80,000 people, you know what I mean? Are you gonna be the clutch guy that we need?
I would have been impressed if like one was 55, but 45.
Yeah, 45. 45 is standard. You better be able to hit a 45-yard field goal. That better not be your long. Honestly, I go back to the long ago.
It's never had a kick, extra point, nothing in the NFL. Never.
Well, if the Patriots do the right thing and keep their kicker that was awful last year, that they got out of, I think, the 4th round or something, I think, in release Sly, we should definitely pick him up. I mean, this kicker is not going to be the kicker.
No, we're going to pull in a few.
No. There's going to be definitely 100%.
There's like the only one of real note on the free agent list is Randy Bullock, and he's been a lot of time, but there's a lot of rostered kickers already, multiple per team. So there's definitely going to be. I mean, we get a kicker anywhere, but there's one guy
off the border.
I forget his name, but
Cade York is the other guy, and in the UFL, it's a guy called Bates.
Yes, that's the guy
he's got 60. He's got 4 60-yarders this year.
Yeah, I would love to bring him.
Yeah, I would much rather bring him than a guy who can't beat out Chris Blewett. But you know how I feel about it. You can go down south of the border and just yell out, "Hey, Javier," and anybody that turns around, come on over here and try out. And then you can go over to Europe and yell, "Hey, Horst," or "Hey, hey, Pierre," and anybody whose head turns around, just come on over here, try to kick, and I guarantee you, we can.
Did you say horse?
Anybody, Horst, or whatever. Whoever turns around will be able to kick better than a guy who can't beat
Andrew McKnight III.
Vladdy the baddie. Come on,
we could get Andy in here, and I guarantee you he could kick better than a guy who can't beat out Chris Blewett.
But to be honest, Andy Scouse off our show, he can't remember who put the tweet out, but he put the tweet out and he gave quite an in-depth breakdown of ones from the UFL. There's 4 or 5 kickers there who have all hit like 13 out of 13, a lot of them over 50 yards. So there's 3 or 4 that are in the UFL at the minute that will do a semi-decent job. I mean, Aubrey from the Cowboys, who was absolutely clutch last year, he came from the UFL.
Sure, like I said.
And he was absolutely clutch. So...
Yeah, I always get sick and tired of people when they tell me who you're going to get with a kicker. God damn it, you can practically get anybody. They're all over the place.
I think he missed 1 field goal all season and didn't miss an extra point. He was unreal. So you can find these guys out there on the street. I mean,
you're telling me this guy out there had 4 60-yard kicks this season in the UFL.
There was 4 on the international player pathway this year who went to kick in tryouts in the NFL. 3 of them Irish players, and one of them is an ex-professional rugby player. Give them a try. Do you know what I mean?
You got to keep them.
One of them, and one of them got signed. One of them got signed by the Saints. I know that. So he's physically on a roster at the minute. So there's plenty of talent out there. We just got to find it. That's all. So
with kicker, it's not like any other position. And with a kicker, you can and I know I sound very pat when I say this kind of stuff, but there's talent out there that nobody even knows exists. When you're telling me there's a guy that just kicked 4 60-yard field goals in the UFL, that's a guy that belongs in the NFL. The yardage is no different, right? The yardage is no different. The defensive line and offensive linemen are pretty much the same size. If you can get it over the line and you can get it that far and get it over that crossbar, are the uprights are their distance apart any different in the UFL?
No, not at all.
There you go. I tell you what, bring them in by the bus. That's what I say. Jesse, you're awfully quiet. What do you think of this?
Nah, I don't give a shit.
He don't.
I miss Joey Sly. We should never have cut Joey Sly. That's all I got to say about it.
I agree. The 61-yard field goal. I mean, you're right. Cheeseman how do we not know that he wasn't the majority?
I'm willing to put a lot of
How do we not
money
know?
down on the fact that Cheeseman was responsible for maybe not all of them, but at least some of his fuck ups. His misses.
Quite a few, I would suggest, because we saw how many times the Tress Way had to save that ball.
Exactly. That's what I mean, man. Look, like I said, I would forego a missed extra point or a couple during the season for a better percentage, better opportunity to nail that 65-yarder to win a game.
Right.
And Sly had that type of leg.
I don't want to hear about a guy who can't beat out Chris Blewett, who's long of his life so far is 45 yards, when we've got a guy that can hit a 61-yard field goal when we need it to.
And listen, we got, and let's be real, man. Kickers not named Justin Tucker, they're going to fucking miss.
And he missed last year.
Yeah,
he missed a few last year. And kickers, the light goes out on them sometimes. It just it turns over. And
I just thought Joey was solid enough. Especially after the shit that we went through with Hopkins. I thought, okay, now we found a solid, and listen, I know the kickoff is going to be a little bit different.
Yeah, that's what I'm curious. What maybe the kickoff rule has something to do with that.
But I mean, listen, like McManus, he was on point from extra points. I'll give him that, but he also had a noodle leg too. So
I guess we're planning on scoring touchdowns.
I've just seen this, and I didn't know if you'd had a chance to look at this yet, but I'll just share this on the screen now. So tell me when you can see this pop up if one of you adds it. Do we think that is actually Freddie Ham?
Who?
Oh, looks a little bit.
Is that hot take, Freddie?
Is that Freddie? I don't think so.
He looks taller.
He's a bigger dude. I get that. He's a bigger dude. Yeah. But yeah, I saw that and thought, is that you, Freddie? I was watching highlights of Jaden Daniels throwing passes, and this dude just caught a pass. And I was like, who the hell's that? And then I looked back. I was like, oh, looks like Freddie. So shout out to Freddie. Maybe you're long
wait for Freddie to lose your tickets and say he's got that kind of fat.
Yeah, maybe. I am going to lose my tickets, that's for sure. But there you go. But I did think that was quite funny.
So I guess what we were wanting to try to do today was take a look at our roster and how it matches up against other teams in the NFC East, which really means nothing more than a hill of shit, and that it's the first week of June and we're scrambling for shit to talk about because, hey, let's face it, you folks rely on us. You people who have nothing else to do at 5:30 on a Friday afternoon want us to give you something to keep your mind going long enough to get to dinner, and we're well aware of this. So I would say we could start with who we want to start with.
Before that, Brian's made a good fucking point right here. Going back to the kickers.
That's right.
Listen, like this new kickoff rule is it's a lot different, man. And you see the Kansas City Chiefs saying, we're not going to use a kicker to kick off. We're actually going to use a player, Justin Reed. Yes, he can kick the ball, but you look at Sly. Look how big fucking Sly is. Sly is huge. Yeah. I think he can take a couple hits. All right, now we can go back to what John was talking about. Who do you want to start with?
No, I think you're right, and you know what? I'm going to stick with that for a minute because I do wonder whether or not Sly was let go because of the new kickoff rules. And although I think it might have happened before they passed those rules, the new kickoff rule is interesting. We haven't really talked about that. They had fucking Emmanuel Forbes out there running it in OTA. Running kickoffs. I'm sorry, that's just too much risk, I think, for him.
I don't know.
Loads of people. Loads of people running.
We're going to find out who can do it. Brian Robinson can do it.
Like we've talked about this before. This is a strategic play now. This isn't, most likely it's going to be a touchback. You got a game plan for this play right now, and what we know for sure, what Forbes is good at is returning for touchdowns.
Well, when the other team's going the other way,
it's the same difference. It's the same difference.
It's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
I mean, has he returned punts?
No, he's not doing punts. That's different.
No, he's not.
I'm talking about in college. Y'all talking about his returns of interception.
No,
Yeah.
he hasn't done pumps or
Okay, because
or
a
kicks,
return of
never.
interception is different. Half the team is on the other side of the field, and
Well,
the rest of
no,
them,
not necessarily.
most of the time they don't even know what happened.
They're in a,
Yeah, you're right. Brian's brought a point up there saying one of the beat reports said Eckler looked the best doing it. So he's had Eckler, he's had Crowder, he's had Robinson, he had Dotson, he had Emmanuel Forbes.
You know, I
Kaz
think they
Allen.
should fucking put Jamin Davis back there and let him just bowl over some motherfucker.
So, and Dax Milne.
Oh,
It was
God,
6. I think it
please.
was
I
6.
don't ever want to hear that name again.
He'll be gone. I mean, Kaz Allen is probably the guy off special teams or off this roster who will probably.
Kaz Allen. Look, aside from the fact that Ron picked him after the draft last year, the guy hasn't even got enough football skills to even. I mean, they were talking about he was so raw last year that if you even get near him, you get food poisoning. The guy can't play at this level, and I really can't understand. I mean, maybe I don't see him play, but why is he still here? They've let go of other people that have got value that were because they were from the. This guy, I just don't understand. What the hell are you doing with
this regime? Signed Kaz Allen to a contract.
They did, and the other guy,
who working out at all? I haven't heard a word.
The other guy who was doing kickoff returns, who I think could have a really good shot at this. He's probably our most athletic player on the entire side. Is safety Tyler Owens. He's the guy who doesn't believe in space. He's a flat earther, but he had a perfect 10 RAS score. It was unreal. He is so athletic. So if you look at it that way, he's an undrafted free agent. I get that.
Austin Eckler.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, because that dude he's a baller out in space. You know what I mean? Eckler's been pretty good between the tackles, but he's done his best damage with like a screen pass or something out to the outside where he's got space. I like Austin Eckler.
I do too, but I'm not sure on his pace anymore. I'm not sure.
I mean, really. So, all right, let's refresh what this rule is for everybody that's paying attention. That's like me that probably maybe doesn't know everything about it. Where does the kickoff? Does the kickoff still happen from the opposing 35?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
And they have to line up. Everybody lines up at the what? They're like 20 yards apart.
10 yards apart.
That's right. Yeah.
Or 10 or 5 yards apart.
No, not 5.
10, I think. Yeah.
10 yards apart.
I think, yeah.
All right. So it seems to me that without a lot of field to cover as you're running down, where you can start to weave and do different things, and where you can start to set up returns because you've got a couple of seconds. Once you break contain of this thing, once you break through the initial line of this thing, you can go a long fucking way. Doesn't that? I mean, if you got 10 guys 10 yards apart, and from 11 or then 10 guys, and then a kicker back here and a returner back here.
You want me to read the NFL?
Yeah, read it, because I can't remember it.
The ball is kicked from the 35-yard line, same as current. Safety kicks will be from the 20-yard line. Alignment. All kicking team players other than the kicker will line up with 1 foot on the receiving team's 40-yard line.
So 10 guys at the 40.
The kicker cannot cross the 50-yard line until the ball touches the ground or a player in the landing zone or the end zone. The 10 kicking team players cannot move until the ball hits the ground or the player in the landing zone or the end zone. So the ball, they kick it.
He has to catch it first before they can even run.
They can even move.
Yes.
The receiving team lines up as follows. The setup zone is a 5-yard area from the 35 to the 30-yard line. So they are literally
10 yards apart. 10 to 15.
5 to 10 yards apart. It's in between 5 and 10 yards apart is where they're being lined up at. Where at least 9 receiving team players must be lined up. At least 7 players with a foot on the 35-yard line. So 7 players have to be 5 yards away from the other team. The restraining line is what they call it, requirements to the outside numbers to the hashes, and the inside hashes. Players not on the restraining line must be lined up in the setup zone outside the hash marks. So basically, you have you can have 2 returners on either side of the hash marks. All players in the setup zone cannot move until the kick has hit the ground or a player landing in the end zone
Then what happens if they do? Is it illegal procedure? They do it again?
Yeah, legal procedure. Maximum of 2 returners may be lined up. The landing zone. Landing zone is the area between the receiving team's goal line and its 20-yard line. Any kick that hits short of the landing zone, treated like a kickoff out of bounds, will be spotted at a 40-yard line.
So he's got a good 10 to 15-yard running start probably, unless the defense can overwhelm.
Well, no, nobody can move until the ball.
Right.
Or the ball hits the ground.
There's a 5-yard scrum, right? 10 guys are going to hit 7 guys, and then those other whatever going to happen.
And that's only 15 yards away from that 20-yard line.
Right. So he's going to have at least a 10-yard run up, I'm thinking.
Maybe.
and really, the only thing that's left, if you can break through that initial line, is the kicker. So this will be interesting. I tell you what, I'd be very inclined to think about Austin Eckler or even Brian Robinson, somebody that can pop through there. Or, let's see one of these tight ends. Let's see what they can do. If any of them can run the ball.
And here's like the funky rules that has to happen. So
funky rule.
Any kick that it hits the landing zone, it's got to be returned no matter what. You can't really call a fair catch. Any kick that hits the landing zone and then goes into the end zone must be returned or down by the receiving team. And then it's the touchback at the 20-yard line. Any kick that hits the end zone stays in bounds, returned or downed. If downed by touchback, it goes to the 30-yard line. So if you have a touchback like our old touchbacks,
right?
It's instead of going out to the 25-yard line, it's now going to the 30-yard line.
Right.
Any kick that goes into the back of the end zone, it's out to the 30-yard line. No fair catch.
Fly for you.
There's no fair catch allowed. Let's see. Onside kicks. As the fourth quarter begins, teams trailing has the opportunity to declare an onside kick.
You should be able to do it anytime.
Kick rules apply.
No, you can't. You should be able to do it anytime. I agree with you, John. But now you have to tell the other team that you're going to do an onside kick, which is just what's the element of surprise is gone. That whole New Orleans with in the New Orleans recovery.
Shit, do you remember when the Steelers did it to open the second half of a Super Bowl?
Mm-hmm.
That's what it was the Steelers. Yeah, that's what
I was against
Bill Cowher was spitting all over the sidelines. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Come on, fellas. Let's go. Brian is saying you really need to have a blocking strategy, and I agree. And I think more is you really need to have a tackling strategy. But if you bring guys from one side of the field to the other to try to engage something in terms of tackling, man, you could really get burned on this rule.
Well, let's see. That Brian Mitchell, he was talking about this with Doc Walker today on the radio, man, and he was talking about because he was watching film of the XFL or USFL about it, and there's going to be a lot more scoring on these kickoffs.
Oh yeah. It's all in favor of the offense or the kick return team.
So it's definitely going to be interesting, man. I think it's going to be cool. To be honest with you. I mean, we've seen it in the XFL, and it's
it is cool. Good. It is good. Not all rules changes are bad. I don't like most rules changes because most rules changes take us away from the essence of football. But this one, I think. This is a good competitive rule, man, and it does. It forces the kicking team to give it to the other team and let them try to fucking do something with it. I think that's
good. People aren't going to get up and go for a beer now, are they? In between, just going, it's just a kickoff. I'm not bothered.
Yeah,
it's going to be exciting, and it adds that element of exciting. Timothy's right in there saying the National Offense League strikes again. I mean, yeah, probably right, Tim. You know what I mean? I'm looking at that and going, well, yeah. I think they've got to try and innovate the game.
I got to make an important phone call. I'll be back, guys.
No worries, dude.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and talk to my friend Tom out there, who was also he was my former podcast partner, who we had a nice chat today. Nice to see you. And if he's watching right now, he's also the commissioner of my fantasy football league. We're going to have to talk about these fucking kickoff returners rules that we have, because if I start a goddamn wide receiver that returns a kickoff for a touchdown, I get those points, but not in this league. We don't.
Oh, interesting. Oh,
yeah, I know. I got.
So what were we going to look at, John? Was it what position group do you want to go with?
Not necessarily position group. What I was trying to do was take a look at. Well, I don't know. Really, at this time of year, if some of the folks that used to watch my old show are in here right now, they know at this time of year I don't fucking do this shit. There ain't nothing to talk about, and trying to figure out things to talk
It is
about.
hard.
But it's something that I used to laugh at people doing this. But then, hey man, we found out how many people will sit there and watch us watch TV. So we might as well.
That's true. That's
give you
true.
your money
2.5. You know, was it 2.5 hours we broadcast for on the draft?
On the draft.
There was hundreds of people
People
watching.
sitting
I was
there.
like, "What are you doing?" Here's me with my head falling off because we hadn't
Right.
hadn't put an offensive tackle in. I was just my head is going to fall off anytime soon. But yeah, it was fun. I mean,
Well, we
do
might
you
as
wanna
well
go-
start with a.
do you want to go
let's
through
do the Giants.
the Giants? Right, let's have a
I
look at the
hate
Giants. I've got
And we'll
I
let
hate
Harry
the Giants
Giants
too.
speak for us.
He's one of the most influential and beloved singers of our time, Harry Sphincter.
Hey, Daniel Jones, you and the Giants can fuck off.
Yes, all your favorite Harry Sphincter hits in one volume. Songs like Fuck You, Daniel Jones,
Fuck you, Daniel Jones. Fuck you, Daniel Jones.
yes, Harry Sphincter, the man Frank Sinatra called the most versatile singer of all time.
Go fuck yourself, Daniel Jones. Go fuck yourself, Daniel Jones. Go fuck yourself. Carry your skinny ass back to New York. Fuck yourself, Daniel Jones. Fuck you.
And no matter what the mood, Harry Sphincter delivers.
Daniel Jones. Fuck you. Fuck you, Daniel Jones.
Harry Sphincter has been giving us amazing hits for decades. Who can forget these timeless classics?
Lawrence Taylor can suck my dick. Fuck you, Eli Manning. Phil Sims, go fuck yourself, you white-haired hillbilly.
Get your Harry Sphincter Greatest Hits package today. Send $29.95 to Harry Sphincter, Fuck You Daniel Jones Way, New York, New York.
So there you go. I hope everybody had a chance to go get a beer there.
Yeah,
I fucked it and fuck the New York Giants. And like I said when we were doing our early May predictions of the season, I am not going to talk shit about them. I am not going to say a thing because we can't fucking beat them. However, I'm going to talk shit about them. Fuck them. I can't stand them. They are my most hated team. I know everybody hates the fucking Cowboys. Jesse, who's your most hated team?
My most hated team, man, it's difficult because I fucking hate the Cowboys. I hate the Giants and I hate the fucking Eagles.
Well, there you
There's
go.
got to be between the Eagles and the Cowboys. But man, do I hate the fucking Steelers as well. And I hate the fucking Patriots.
You're just full of hate.
I do.
I'm that way too.
It's
The Giants are the number one hate.
I think like it's always been the Cowboys, like for me,
Yeah.
but I think little by little, the Eagles have kind of overtaken them a little bit, man.
Yep. It's
Like,
just that fan
just-
base.
Yes, God, they're so fucking irritating, man. They're so fucking. I mean, you got to hate someone who eats shit.
Yeah, oh yeah,
horse shit
fuck
off
yeah.
the ground.
I tell you what,
I
that's
mean-
why World War I started. Didn't you know that? We saw somebody eating shit on one of those early newsreels, and we said, "Fuck
Well,
that."
Archduke Franz Ferdinand was eating shit, was he? And that's what got him killed.
Right.
Okay.
That's right. Princeps said, "Fuck this. We're going to take care of this nonsense." I'll tell you what. All right. So the Giants, I look over their roster. It is absolute garbage.
Yeah, I mean, they got a cornerback named Flott. I mean,
Flott.
what the Flott is that?
A quarterback named Flott? or a
Corner.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he's a starter.
Look, man, I'll tell you what. I looked at their offensive line. Here's a picture of him. Right here.
Cordell Flott.
Anybody didn't see him.
I like just thinking about the defensive back unit, and I think that's probably like
Here they are.
with that in their defensive line.
Yeah, here they are.
I mean, Tyler Nubin. I like Tyler Nubin.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah, but other than that, I don't.
Oh, come on now. Look, let's really break it down. Dexter
Jalen
Lawrence is a
Mills.
decent.
Yes,
Dexter Lawrence is a decent nose tackle. Brian Burns, Bobby Okereke
we'll see how Brian Burns does in it. It's a lot of times some of these people go from one team to the other and they just don't. It doesn't work out. And that happens often.
One really underrated player at linebacker is Bobby Okereke.
Yes.
They've got Isaiah Simmons still there, who's But the one that you have got is Kayvon Thibodeau.
Kayvon Thibodeau is only good when he plays us.
Exactly. Yeah. That's the point.
Yeah. And the same as Daniel Jones and or fucking Tommy DeVito or whoever else they're going to throw out there.
Well, they got Drew Lock now, John.
But Dexter Lawrence is a grade A defensive tackle that is one of the tops in the league. So you got to take your hat off to him. Because he's fantastic, and we would anybody who roots for another team would love to have a player like Dexter Lawrence on that team.
Agreed.
But other than that, Brian Burns, I mean, listen, he was great in Carolina. He may have looked good because everybody else on the team sucked that bad. But we'll see how that defense, shakes out. I don't like the back end of their defense. I think that can definitely be had. I mean, they got Jalen Mills over from. I think he was on the Eagles for a while, but he's not even.
He's not even a starter.
Really yeah,
no. I think that the defense in their regard, it's not even a matter of even let's say their defense is very good and gives up fucking 14 to 20 points a game. They're still going to lose 10 games because their offense can't fucking score.
True.
I mean, when you look at this offense, granted, they might surprise me. The only thing I'm seeing is they got Devin Singletary is going to replace fucking Saquon Barkley at running back. And even though I like Devin Singletary, I'm just not seeing it here. They got running backs have the fucking Eric Gray, Gary Brightwell. Who the hell is this guy? Fucking Drew Lock, Daniel Jones, Tommy DeVito.
I think Drew Lock's going to be the starter by mid-season, to be honest with you.
Wow. I mean, looking at this,
why not?
Was Deontay Banks the guy they picked up in the first round last year? Corner.
Yes. No.
No,
I think that's maybe.
I don't know who they got, but he was pretty good. I think last year by all accounts.
I'm looking at got Aziz Ojulari. He's a pretty good player as well too.
Yeah,
but
he's okay.
Like they're starting wide receivers. Yeah, they drafted Malik Neighbors. Okay,
that's the only thing they've got on the entire.
And then they have Wandale Robinson, Darren Waller, probably going to fucking retire.
Allen Robinson.
Allen Robinson, I was surprised he's still playing. I haven't heard of him, but he was a really good receiver
at one point.
In Chicago, but he is getting older.
Penn State.
Daniel Bellinger is a name that is very interesting. I think he's going to turn out to be a good tight end.
Hyatt's not a bad wide receiver, to be fair. He's better than DR. He's better than when you're looking at a wide receiver 3 to 4. He's there. He's better than what we have as De'Ami Brown. And
here's the question: is how do our defensive backs match up? How's our defense match up against that offense? If they're in a passing set, we're just looking at everything on paper, right?
All right, so look, you take it from paper. Like,
I think we should intercept every pass. Fuck that.
We probably should. Fuck the exactly. But now I think with the additions of Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner, bumping Quan out to free safety, the addition of Jeremy Chin, I think the middle of the field is not going to be as available as it was last year.
Thank God, because tight ends from New York, man, run wild over this team every damn time we see them.
Look, I think the only problem that I think we need to deal with is Malik Neighbors, man. I don't see anybody else besides maybe Daniel Bellinger. I think he's going to turn out to be a really, really good tight end. Right. Their offensive line was bad last year, but injuries has ravaged that team. I think they're getting healthy. They got John Runyon. They got John Michael Schmitz, Andrew Thomas, and Evan Neal is not very good, but Andrew Thomas is a good left tackle. But I still think we can get pressure.
See, what they need is to sign this guy. If they get that guy in there, then their offensive line will be a little bit better.
But there's nobody that scares you on this team. And our corners are weak right now.
That's the thing. There has not been anything scary about this team for 4 years, and we cannot get past them, and it absolutely drives me batty. We should whoop this team. All right, even with our rosters is, we definitely drink the Kool-Aid, and our roster is not as good as we have pretended it was, but it's a damn sight good. It should have been good enough to be able to hem in Daniel flipping Jones, but he's just decimated us. Tommy DeVito beat us last year. When you bring up this guy Hyatt, right?
Yeah,
he's the kind of little shit receiver that drives me crazy with us, because he should not have the great games that he'll have against us.
No,
but he'll,
no.
it's like
I like what we have at safety.
Let's have the game of our lives.
Yeah, I do too.
We have at safety now, man. I really like Quan Martin. Sanders still is going to play a huge role in this on this defense. And again, I think the middle of the field is going to be a lot better protected. Sure. Now we know Bobby Wagner's lost a little bit of a step as far as in the coverage game. And frankly, Luvu is not known for his coverage skills, but they're going to be 10 times better than what we've had in the coverage, than we've had in the past, 10 years.
Hopefully, what it means to me is, so let's say Wagner has lost a step, and Luvu isn't the best in coverage, but what that means to me, hopefully, this defensive line is not going to let these holes open up that fucking Daniel Jones can just take off for 40 yards through these gigantic openings. Timothy says, I can't abide another year of losing to not beating. You'd say it's the same thing, but we tied them. So there's that. The pond scum that is the New York Giants. I just can't. Timothy, I am with you 100%. If I saw the New York Giants out fishing on a lake and their boat capsized, I would throw high voltage cables into the water. Fuck them. I just never did like them.
Timothy Deluxe, what was bringing in chat, and Karen?
What is that?
What it is. Hamburger helper pukes with chunks of shit.
That is the most un-American thing I've ever heard before in my life.
Puke with chunks of shit.
It's a good job she's not American, but there you go.
Hey, not even an American dish. Look, it's stroganoff. What is that? German? It is probably shit.
Yeah, Polish or Polish stroke German. Yeah. Hungarian, actually. There you go.
There you go. Hungarian. Go our good buddy Zoltan Paska out there, the commander of the Hungarian Guard.
But yeah, I mean, the only bit I'm looking at here, when we look at what we're doing starter-wise, I mean, I'm looking at ESPN here in a 4-3 based defense. They got Percy Butler starting over Derek Forrest. That's not happening.
That's not
Saints Drill is behind Benjamin St. Juice as your right cornerback. That's not happening. And I don't honestly think Emmanuel Forbes is even starting. I think it's going to be.
I think Forbes is going to be wind up starting.
I think that any kind of speculation on the depth chart like that is way premature. We don't even know.
Of course it is.
When you hear Coach Witt the other day say, we don't have 11 starters, we got 17, 18 guys we're going to battle with.
I mean, I like hearing that too.
I loved hearing that. I love
packages.
I like the coaching staff. This is the one reason why I am buying in this year, why I'm drinking the Kool-Aid, is I think this staff really has it going on. And these are the kind of players that can turn in what they are able to teach them. And that's the key. They'll teach them. When we talk about how our defensive backs are going to measure up and how these defenses are going to play against like the Giants, who get these inexplicable fucking plays against us all the time, I always look back at the defensive coaching that we have had for the last 4 years, and it has been utter fucking trash. So it's hard to speculate what we're going to do now because we really don't have any inkling yet. But it's got to be better. I mean, it's got to be better. Karen, tell me, Karen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Karen, tell me, when you're in the store and you see puking chunks of shit hamburger helper, you're going to go right on by that and buy the cheesy chunky hamburger helper, right? Right. I don't even know what the point was for that, but it fucking made it. Scott, your thoughts?
Hamburger helper. Yeah, I've never even heard of that. I don't.
Well, hey man, the Giants are going to sign this guy in June. Well, it is June. We didn't make any June 1st signings, did we?
I know. I saw that. Yeah, it's. I mean, as Brian said there, John Kime said Trent Scott was playing left tackle with the starting O line. I mean,
really,
I don't pray anything into that. But yeah,
that's interesting. That's something that I had heard discussed earlier in the season. Now we had a little chat about this the other day. Go ahead, Jesse.
No, I was just say, like they've all said, you can't. The depth chart is. Don't even look at the depth chart right
now.
I mean, they're just filling in.
Putting people out there.
Yeah, they're just putting people out there right now.
Yeah. The thing about left tackle All right. We've all kind of been sitting here for the last 3 months. Well, since April. Yeah, for the last 6 weeks, wondering what we're going to do about left tackle. And it seems to be Brandon Coleman is going to be the guy.
Yep.
Right? How do we feel about that? Jesse, I know you're really excited about it.
I like it. I've been watch some TCU games, and I like the kid. I like the kid.
Mm-hmm. You know? Scott?
Yeah, agreed. He's got good footwork. Needs to work, obviously, on his hand placement, but that can be coached. And they're probably going to give him a shot, and we'll see. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how it goes. But yeah, I don't know. Wow. Okay.
She would rather eat a rat than the puke shits, which means to me, Scott, that there's a potential that you might get rat for dinner one night.
No, I think we'll take a trip to China and we'll see how it goes, John. But yeah, it'll be interesting. Maybe that's my local Chinese takeaway. I don't know. They might be eating rats. Dogs, yeah, maybe. Yeah.
Deuce, happy birthday,
here. Happy birthday,
happy birthday, my guy.
Bunch of personnel groups. Somebody told me today they have undrafted guys practicing with presumed starters.
Yeah.
Right, and I think that what you're seeing there is just whatever everybody. It's.
Yeah, I think too.
They're trying to find out what they have.
Yeah, the coaches are just trying to, seeing if they got something in somebody that they could use, and take advantage of.
It's June, Jesse. Let's just calm it down, man. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's June. We haven't had training camp yet. We're in OTAs. That's it. We're a bit closer to football, which is great. But as John said, this is the time now. I mean, God, imagine it they've got one OTA installed next week. Then once that's over with, you've got a 4-week break of nothing. I mean, what? You won't see us for a month. So, yeah, what can you do? You're on mute, John. You're on mute. You think you'd know this over COVID, wouldn't you? But hey, it is what it is. John's on mute. He's still talking away. He's just so old. He's lost it. I don't know, John.
We can't hear you, John.
John, you're on mute.
That's good enough. I muted myself because I felt like I should mute myself. I'm over here being old and shitting my pants, so I figured I didn't want to.
I thought it was just your president, but
I got to tell you, man, that's the thing. And I'm sure Deuce, whose happy birthday, by the way, that's 3 times I've said happy birthday to Deuce, and thankfully because it's Judah, we have nothing to talk about. It's Deuce's birthday, so we can at least kill 40 seconds worth of showtime by saying happy birthday to Deuce.
What?
Number 4. Diapers help you podcast better. You don't have to have any.
Apparently, do.
You don't have to stop. You don't have to do anything. All right, so he's definitely eating a dog.
Brian's like, what breed?
What breed?
Right, she's not eating dog. She went to a Chinese restaurant in
she very well could have eaten dog.
And apparently they had cans of dog meat outside in
I have a Chinese shop right down the street, and there was a bunch of stray dogs that hung out behind there. One day we just didn't see them anymore. So
come on,
I can tell you there's no dog in my house.
Just ban her from the chat. Ban her from the chat.
All right, we're moving on to. Are we going to do the Philadelphia Eagles?
I guess we can do the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, because the Giants are just putrid, and it's more fun.
The Giants. And listen, I'm going to say it right now. We are going to sweep the Giants this year.
You are.
I think so too.
Courting disaster.
I think so too. I really do.
All right.
I think so, but I'm not going to say so because every time I say so, Daniel Jones comes up and sticks his freaking foot in my mouth. I'm tired.
I don't think listen, I think we might play Daniel Jones one time this year, and the second time it's going to be a different quarterback because he's going to shit the bed, and John Mayer's going to go lock himself in the office and cry because he still owes Daniel Jones money.
I tell you, I hope that day is the day that we are there to watch Daniel Jones. I want to hear that guy because we're on the Giants sidelines. I think this year. I think we're over there.
We're on the Giants.
I want to hear him on the sidelines crying, Paul. I don't know what the hell's going on out there. It's where y'all I look out there and them goddamn commanders is everywhere. I just want to hear it so fucking bad. I want to see on our big jumbotron pictures of Daniel Jones' fucking head with his crossed eyes as he's wandering to the sidelines after yet another devastating sack. I can't stand them. I want to watch Daniel Jones eat turf.
I'm with you, Timothy. I hate the Eagles, man. I hate the Eagles. I think it might be more than the Cowboys now. Just because I know the Cowboys, they live in a world of suck because they're good in the we'll talk about that when we talk about the Cowboys.
Well,
Let's
yeah.
move to the Eagles because it's getting a little bit late.
I honestly do think the Eagles are still the class of the division.
Yes, I do too. You
Jalen
agree.
Hurts
I'm not
last year. I think he's a very good quarterback. I don't know if I have to say he's an excellent quarterback, but he's a damn good quarterback. People say he's got a rag arm. I don't see it, man. He's got fast wide receivers.
I think he's good.
Them dudes deep. He's got a lot of speed out there, and they're a damn good football team. They've got a good offensive line, and they're well coached. I think that they are the class of the East, and
I do. I think they are definitely
hill.
the favorites by far because if you look at they did stuff to improve their roster, and when we talk,
they always do. They do stuff to improve their roster at night while everybody's asleep.
And you know, when people try to come up with comparisons, you know, for Jaden Daniels, for comps for Jaden, you know, to me, I think he looks like a taller Jalen Hurts.
Hurts is cocky though, man. He's fucking
strong. He is big. I'm just saying, like the style of play between the two of them. I think Daniels and Hurts have a lot in common in that aspect. But when you're looking at it, I mean, they got, you know, I thought we were done, you know, going up against Saquon Barkley twice a year.
Nope.
And I think he'll be better there. As long as
I do too. I do too.
In Philadelphia, he'll be ripping off those fucking runs where he's 50, 60 yards past everybody.
And then they got Kenny Gainwell behind. Gainwell, I think, is a pretty good running back.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
of course you have the dynamic duo in AJ Brown and Devontae Smith.
Paris Campbell's
and
not
then they picked up Paris Campbell.
Damn good pickup.
Yeah. As their wide receiver 3, and they still got Dallas.
Got it. The tight end. Yeah.
I mean, this team it just keeps on.
And that left hand side of that offensive line, you are not getting past that. I mean, Lane Johnson is a fantastic.
As much as I can't stand, it's Lane Johnson. He is the best right tackle, probably
a left guard. He's left guard, isn't he?
A right tackle, Lane Johnson.
Pretty good. That's pretty good. I'll tell you what,
Lane Johnson. Lane Johnson. Yeah, I thought you were talking about Landon Dickerson. Sorry.
No, but he's good too. I mean, they got a great offensive line. I mean, Jordan Mailata at left tackle, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens is you know, Jason Kelsey is retired, so that's going to be an interesting aspect of that offensive line now that Kelsey is not calling the shots. You know, protection. So we'll see what Cam Jurgens can do. But their offense is stacked. It's going to be stacked. This team is going to, I think, probably be one of the favorites in the NFC to win the actual NFC.
Yeah, of course they will.
Yeah.
Of course they will.
I mean, then you look at their starting defense as well. I mean, you've got Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Bryce Huff, Nakobe.
Picked up Bryce Huff. Oh man, I wanted Bryce Huff so much.
Yeah. Devin White, Nolan Smith, Quinion Mitchell, CJ Gardner-Johnson's back from the Lions. You still got Slay and you've got Blankenship as well. And then even in their supposed second team, you've got Bradbury still. You've got Josh Sweat there as well, who always comes up with sacks. Brandon Graham's like third choice. Do you know what I mean? He's like, hang on a minute, what is actually going on here? They have got a serious team.
Like I said, they work on that roster. I'm telling you, Howie Roseman is in the bathroom working on that roster every single day. And this is just for Deuce because I know it'll make him sick. Oh,
blue dabba dee dabba da.
Yeah.
Eiffel 65.
Yeah, no, and Deuce is right, man. Giants fans on Twitter, I mean, they're this shit. And Hollywood is 100% right. Barkley behind that offensive line is going to be scary. Agreed. Definitely agreed.
The Eagles are the team that scare me the most. And then really when you look in the NFC, other than maybe the 49ers, who they're still bringing back a lot of those people. They're the class of the conference, I think. I think they're picking them to go to
the Lions.
The Lions
will have a decent season. I tell you who else will have a good season, and you guys poo-pooed me before. Green Bay are going to have a decent season.
I poo-pooed you.
I got to see it again from Jordan Love. I'm not totally sold on him yet. I need another year. I'm not saying he's not going to be, but I'm just not sold quite yet.
I think you can say that about any team, Paulie.
I agree with that. I mean, Christ, can you imagine if we're trotting out Mariota? Wow.
Oh,
I mean, Paulie, I think you're right. Kenny Small Hands isn't going to do the job there, but we'll see what happens with that. I mean, ideally, you'd want to be looking at somewhere like the Steelers and saying, "Well, I've got two competent quarterbacks." How competent Russell Wilson is, we'll wait and see. But that's kind of where you want your room to be. I don't want to be seeing Mariota. He needs to match his number this year, John.
I don't want to see him at all. I didn't want to see him even come to this freaking city except on somebody else's team. I don't like the signing of Marcus Mariota. I think that if you are a loser, the only thing you know how to teach is losing. And what's he going to tell us? What's he going to show us? I guess he can help Brian Johnson's offense, I suppose. But we all made this argument before, and y'all told me why you thought that it wasn't such a bad thing. I'm just not a fan of Marcus Mariota. But Paulie said that the Eagles could be one hit away on quarterback from being a basement dweller. And really, you could say that of practically any team in the NFL, especially if you have a franchise quarterback that you've paid, because backup quarterback is an absolute luxury in the league.
Sure.
Who was telling me that we wouldn't get anything for fucking Sam
Howell,
right?
Yeah,
and the fact of the matter is, quarterback is such a rare thing. You show even the slightest bit, and you can play for a long time. Small hand, smells of cabbage. I agree. Kenny Pickett.
I don't think we match up very well.
But
the thing about it is we've played them so tough. It's just, I don't know. It's AJ Brown, man. AJ Brown and Devontae Smith is just they're so good,
scary. And then you got Paris Campbell added into that mix.
Yeah,
mix.
Right.
You've got a very good, probably top 5 tight end in Goddard as well. I mean,
yeah, and they pick. They
and then we haven't even talked about Saquon Barkley. In that respect, you know what I mean?
If he can just stay healthy,
wow,
he's a quality back. And I hope. I'm a big Saquon Barkley fan. Everybody knows I'm a big Penn State fan, and I'll tell you what, I cheered a lot for Saquon Barkley. When he went to the Giants, that hurt, because what he did at that point was go from being one of my favorite college football players of all time to being an absolute drooling, fucking brainless subhuman as far as I'm concerned. And now he's gone even further down the hole and said, I'm going to join the shit eaters. So I'm really down on Saquon Barkley right now, but he is definitely the kind of guy. Do you remember the first time we played him up when he was with the Giants? Holy fuck. Nobody could get a goddamn finger on him. He was just gone. As soon as they handed him the ball, off he went.
And do they still have a jail genuinely in the stadium of the Eagles?
That was at I don't think they have one in the link.
I think most teams
did.
I think most teams do. It's not, dude, I think
I don't know if we mentioned this, but they brought back CJ Gardner-Johnson.
Yeah, we did. I said that, from the Lions. Yeah.
So he wasn't great at the Lions, but he was good. But he was really, really good when he played for the Eagles before.
He was.
So we got the Cowboys.
It'll be a seamless transition for him as well back into that system. So yeah, I get that. Cowboys.
The Cowboys.
The fourth placed Cowboys. The fourth placed Cowboys.
So let's talk about what they did this offseason to bolster their roster. Let's talk about
nothing.
Well, they built on the offensive line.
Zero.
They built on the offensive line. Their first round pick was an offensive line, and they took a tackle in the first round.
Tyler Guyton.
Yeah, they took
Tyler Guyton. Correct. Yeah, they did.
Right.
Yeah.
They've done,
and they did absolutely nothing else.
Free agency, they didn't do anything. We said on this show, Jerry went on vacation. Oh dang!
They brought in Eric Kendricks, a aging linebacker that's gone downhill the past couple of years.
And the Chargers, he's been shocking.
Yeah,
they've pissed off CeeDee Lamb, who I guess he's going to come to camp. It depends. I see something almost different every other day.
That's very.
I agree, Paulie.
I think Dallas is on its,
their window is closed. Yeah. And I don't know that they even had a window to begin with. I think they're like one of those flies that when the window opens, they find out there's a screen named Dak Prescott and they run their nose.
They brought back, like Scotty said, they brought back Ezekiel Elliott. Let's talk about that for a second. The thing about it is they were handcuffed. They didn't have no money to do anything. Everything's tied up. They had like one of the least amount of cap space out of all 32 teams.
That goddamn balloon payment on a stadium is pretty big, let me tell you.
I mean, but what they still got, players like CeeDee Lamb.
Oh yeah.
Jake Ferguson. I like Jake Ferguson at the tight
Jake
end.
Ferguson's going to be a great tight end. Yeah. He is going to be a great tight end.
They still got Terrence Steele, Zach Martin.
Got good wide receivers. I mean,
Tyler
CeeDee Lamb is
Smith.
quality. I don't know about the rest of them.
Yeah, I don't know about Tolbert or Brandon Cooks. I mean,
Cooks can be very good. You know,
He's like that. He's that receiver that bounces from team to team. That's always there when you least expect it. Makes awesome plays, man. Brandon Cooks has had a great career, but he just he hasn't stayed at one spot for more than like 2 years. It's crazy.
So they got one superstar wide receiver. That's pretty much it. I mean, in all honesty, how do we stack up against that? Give me our wide receivers every day of the week, and twice on Sundays.
We have their.
I don't think CeeDee Lamb at any stage in the process there is going to do anything like he has done the last few years, purely and simply because he wants a bigger contract and they fell out.
If our wide receivers are playing against their wide receivers, I would 100% agree with you. I think we have a better room. So I agree with you in that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
But we don't. Travion Diggs, and I don't give a shit what Scouts fucking says. He's a great cornerback.
We'll see. We took their defensive coaches. We took
Deron Bland
had a hell of a season. 6 interceptions as a rookie last year?
Yeah, he broke the record.
We'll see what coaching does.
Malik
Hooker, a free safety, decent.
He's a pretty good safety, man. And Donovan Wilson. Don't really know much about Donovan Wilson, but the key is, compare Mike Zimmer and the staff that he's brought in, because we've taken. Obviously we took Dan Quinn and Joe Witt. Dan Quinn or Mike Zimmer's a good coach. He's a good defensive coach.
He is.
Let's be honest about that. He is. I think it's a different style. Definitely going to be a different style than what we're used to. And then the king of all kings of a defensive play, Mike Parsons, man.
But he ain't having one. He'll play, and he'll play hard. He'll play his usual stuff. But I'll tell you what. When I say their window is closed, this is why. CeeDee Lamb, I don't see him back there next year. I don't see them breaking the bank. They got to break the bank for either him or
Dak
or Micah Parsons.
Or Dak.
Yeah,
Dak's up too.
What are you going to do? He hasn't done it. He hasn't gotten it done.
When is Parsons' contract up, actually, to be fair?
I think this would be his 4th year coming up right now. So
they can negotiate right now.
They can
because
it's picked up his option.
Obviously.
Yeah, they have to.
Yeah. And then you still got DeMarcus Lawrence, again, one of the better edges in the fucking league, man. So they got good players on their defense. They really, really do.
Offense, see the quality of coaching. This is the thing. And I mean, Mike Zimmer, yeah, you're right. He's a good defensive coordinator, but it's been a long time since he's been a defensive coordinator.
And they got a new offensive coordinator as well, too, don't they?
Yeah, they got rid of the kid.
Yeah.
I don't know who their offensive coordinator.
Well, Mike McCarthy was calling plays last year, so and the kid went up. Where did he go? He went somewhere.
San Diego, didn't he? Or Los Angeles?
No. I think he's on the East Coast.
Is he the Jets?
No.
The Giants?
Maybe the Giants.
I could just sit here and keep naming teams.
Might be the Giants. Anyway, but I mean, yeah, Kellen Moore is his name.
Right. Yeah, I thought he went to freaking the Chargers.
That's what I thought he went to as well, Kellen Moore, yeah.
I thought he had left. I don't know, because Harbaugh brought in someone, I think, from Michigan. I don't know. Anyways, regardless, the Dallas Cowboys, I don't think they're going to have nearly as good of a year as they've had in the past. I see them as a 500 type of team.
I tell you, I don't see them as a playoff team. I think, like I said before, the Eagles are the class of the division, and I think that we could actually take a couple of breaks.
That's right. I came to the East Coast.
I think
Kellen Moore.
He's with Philly. Yeah, he's with Philly.
I think that with a couple of breaks, we could finish ahead of the Cowboys. Yeah,
possibly. Yeah. I think the East is going to be very interesting this year. Deluxe is absolutely right. So everybody's got questions. Philly, the coaching, Sirianni, I think he uses a lot of his assistant coaches as scapegoats, i.e. Brian Johnson. Now that we have him on our staff, I think Dallas is just got stat. You know, Mike McCarthy. I don't think you can trust Mike McCarthy. I don't think Mike McCarthy can get you over the edge without a true franchise quarterback. And I don't believe Dak Prescott is a true franchise quarterback.
I mean, he was so bad in the playoffs last year.
Yeah,
you know, you can't ignore that. Go ahead, Scott.
What do you think by November that 2 head coaches in the East have been fired in Daboll and Mike McCarthy?
Daboll hasn't made many friends.
I think it's really possible. I think it's really possible.
I'd be willing to put money that Daboll is gone.
I think he's the first head coach
before December hits.
Very possible. Yeah. He hasn't made many friends up there, and you know, apparently he's kind of gruff and a little bit hard to get along with, and the results just aren't there. And you know, as much as I like to say, fuck John Mara. I hope it hurts. I hope firing him is because you guys haven't won a game yet, and it's after Halloween.
Well, I can't tell you what I don't have a pulse on this team yet.
Think they'd trade Dak? Think anybody would trade for Dak at the
time? I'm sure they would.
I seen a quarterback traded at the deadline.
Look the Raiders, man. The Raiders would be all over that.
As would most likely the Broncos, because even though you're rolling a Bo Nix,
I did not get the Bo Nix pick at 12.
Dude, if you look at the rest of their quarterback room, it's obvious their strategy is fuck it. So when it comes to Bo Nix, fuck it.
Yeah. No, Paulie was right. I think Dak does have value.
He does.
I do. I think
any starting quarterback has value. I'm serious. They're so rare, and Dak, whether anybody can likes him,
he's not a bad quarterback. I don't think he's great. I don't think he's
get them to the playoffs.
And also, I think the defensive game plan and their injuries had a lot to do with it. That's why Dan Quinn, kind of changed the game plan in the playoffs. Was pretty much the fault of it. I mean, Dak threw a couple interceptions too, but I think Dak is.
He was terrible in that playoff game.
I'm not sure about top 10. I'll give you top 12, Pollywood.
I think he's top 10. I think he's a top 10 QB.
I'd take Cousins.
I think I'd take Cousins.
He's going to take Dak over Cousins.
No. I would take
I'm
with Paulie here.
Really?
Every day of the week, I take Dak 100%.
Wow.
I think I'd take Stats machine. No way.
They both have their ups and downs, but
you have to take the dickhead out of Kirk Cousins and leave it on the field.
But is his wife going to appreciate that? Because he wears that thing like a pacifier.
I think Cousins is.
Scott, you can ask your wife what that joke meant.
I like Cousins better than Dak. Sorry.
I do too. I think he's a better quarterback than Dak Prescott. I think he's more. I mean, I hate to say it this way, but he comes up big in bigger games when he always fails in big games. He does. He fails in big games, but I think that
how many chokes on Monday Night Football?
Dak Prescott.
I mean, here's the thing: Monday Night Football. It's one night a week.
I know. Okay. Did the same with the Vikings. He chokes in big games.
Oh yeah.
So does Dak. We're talking about who's the best choker between two of the most.
Dak's had so much more talent. Dallas Cowboys has been the most talented team in the entire NFL for the past 5 years, and Dak has done shit with that fucking team.
And they haven't gotten there. I mean, they've won one playoff game.
They've been more talented up and down their roster. They've got talent. They've had talent up and down the roster, and Dak cannot get them over the hump. If you put Cousins on Dallas Cowboys, I think Cousins would have taken them further than Dak.
But you could say the same thing. You could say the same thing about Lamar Jackson. Before this year, he didn't do anything.
Lamar Jackson, he
was MVP when he was a rookie, wasn't he? Yeah.
No, I know he's been MVP, but what I mean is he hasn't got them over the hump to say, hey, let's get you to
winning a Super Bowl is over the hump. But when you are the quarterback of the Cowboys for how many years now, and you have won one playoff game, you go to the playoff last year, and I mean, dude, he was so bad. He was so bad. And I mean, we've seen Cousins fuck it up in big games too. It's just a matter of if you had to sit there between the two of them looking at the bench, you had one game to win. Who are you
picking? Yeah, but listen,
I'm picking Dak Prescott.
Good God, no.
every
But
time.
probably when you're
look
talking
at
about Diggs, who's Dax had? The talent between the Cowboys and
Amari Cooper,
and the
CeeDee Lamb,
Vikings are
Zeke
freaking
was
it's
badass
not
when
even
he was a
close.
rookie.
Dallas has had a hell of a lot more talent overall up and down the roster. Their receivers are very comparable to, I mean, CD and Jefferson, they're very close in talent. Sorry. Jefferson might be a little bit better. Sure. I give Jefferson. I think he's probably the best receiver in the game.
He's the best receiver in the game. Yeah. Fact.
But CD ain't that far behind. I'm sorry.
No,
CD's a fucking great
receiver.
receiver.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what.
But I'm not going to agree on that though. I'm not going to agree with you on that.
Okay, it's okay to be wrong, Scott.
It's
all right.
It's not okay to be wrong because we can argue this till the cows come home. But in all honesty, if you're giving me a Dak Prescott or Cousins, I'm taking Dak Prescott.
Yeah, well, okay.
I think it's
you and Pollywood can go sit on the Cowboys sideline. And me and John will sit on the Redskins sideline with Kirk Cousins. How about that?
We'll die on that. We'll die on that hill together.
I'll tell you what we'll do. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do Scott's list of the week.
All right.
My list.
Are you ready?
All right.
Well, we've got All right, here we are with Scott's list of the week. Scott, tell us, what is our list this week?
So the list of the week this week, gentlemen, is 5 things Europeans find weird when visiting the United States of America.
Circumcisions, right? Circumcisions.
Yeah, I like to be a cavalier, not a roundhead. But there you go. No, the first one,
the size of the condom.
Exactly, the tipping culture. Very strange in America because pay your servers and pay your staff more money. Pay them a minimum wage, and then therefore they won't have to rely on tips. Tipping culture is a bit odd to us, especially from the UK and in Europe. It's you tip when you've had a decent meal and it's been very good. And 9 times out of 10, I will always leave a tip anyway. But it's not tipping 20% all the time is quite a strange thing to behold. You're like,
tipping has gotten out of control.
Yeah, they're like. They give you this like the card reader and it doesn't give you a choice. Like you don't have a choice. It's like 20% or nothing. I'm like, what the fuck, man?
I'll give you nothing.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
You know what? Your job is to make my fucking sandwich. Make my fucking sandwich. All right.
But at the same time, John, don't pay them. I find it totally and utterly bonkers that you don't have like a national minimum wage.
We do, but it's so low, it's ridiculous. And for servers, it's different because
$2.13 an hour.
It's much less.
Really?
Oh, it's pathetically bad. And what they say is that because you can make more on tips. And you know what? If you're good and you work in a good place, you can make a lot of money on tips. You can, if you're a good bartender and you work in a good spot, you can make a lot of money.
Well, we'll get onto that a little bit.
Here in Maryland, they passed a law a couple of years ago that says that the company can decide whether or not you can have your tips. So they can make you work for $2 an hour and then say, nah. So, yeah, it's kind of mental.
I think it's about.
And there's also a tip share. There's a tip share.
Share it with busboys and whatnot like that. If I get good service, I over tip because, frankly, it's rare. Okay. If I get bad service, I'll leave you a dime. But
the thing that's weird is, here it's like it is a minimum wage equivalent of about $11 an hour. So you could work in a supermarket, stacking a shelf. You could be serving in Pizza Hut. That is the minimum amount of money that you are going to get paid every single hour. So that's why we don't tip. It's not a cultural thing over here. But you tip when you have decent service, but you don't do it. So when you come to the US, it's like, what the hell's this? Where's 20% come from? On to number 2 then, and on that theme, over-exaggeration or enthusiasm from servers. Oh, mate,
what's up with that?
We're miserable.
Like when the server sits down and kneels down at the table and says,
"My name's Brittany. I'll be your server today. You look so cute."
They don't like you. Don't like that?
No, we're miserable bastards, and we're trying to have a dinner. Leave us alone.
Okay,
leave us alone.
You obviously this.
Good evening. Fried enough to eat today? Boy, I'll say. Well, that's great. Would you care for ham or beef? A little both, I think. All right.
What's wrong with that? I don't understand what's so bad.
I mean, it's just weird, is what I mean. I'm not saying, hey, here you go. Do you want a drink? Yeah, here you go. And sling it at you. You know, I'm not talking about that. Be polite. I get that. But don't hang over me while I'm having my dinner every 2 seconds. Is it okay? Is everything okay? I get it. But, oh, man.
There's a fine line, and you're right, because if server's hanging over me, I don't like that.
Correct.
Get the fuck away from me. I'm trying to have my dinner. If they're right there when I need something, I'm great with that. All right. If they see my beer or my beverages down to here, pop over there. Tell me about it. Now, Scott, we in elementary school are forced to watch this.
Let's take a closer look at greeting guests. Every conversation you hold with guests should begin something like this.
Good evening.
Or,
Hi, how are you?
once you've greeted the guest, start a brief conversation. Try asking a question the guest can answer in a sentence or two. You might ask something like this.
Is it still hot out there?
Or this.
Did you catch a game last night?
Or this.
Have you tried the lasagna? It's my favorite.
We are a culture of service, and
I get that.
Is it still hot out there? Works almost everywhere but Nebraska, because the answer is never no, or never. Yeah, and really, where Scott G lives, that's the one guy in town that you really want to be friends with, is the dude that's slicing the roast beef at the
onto number three.
Yeah.
Onto number 3 of the list.
Old country buffet.
Water in the toilet bowl. Very strange.
Now this is what I got. This is what I find weird. You don't have any water in the bottom of your toilet?
Very little, but it's in the bottom of the actual toilet, not in the pan. So when you sit in, because you remember I had this conversation with you, Jess. I was like, "What the hell? There's loads of water." Like, I swear, like, when you go in, when you look in a US loo, it is like filled with water.
But do you know why?
It is
because
not.
We don't want to go down in there and clean it off after the water doesn't wash it away.
No. Paulie, our bathrooms don't smell. We have a flush and it flushes through, and there is water at the bottom of it, but you don't have water in. Basically you're splashing your ass every time you're in shit.
When we're taking a shit, we sometimes a lot of Americans, as you know, are very unhealthy fucks. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So when you have a 10-pound load of shit just hanging out in the toilet, you need to have some water to cover that stuff up.
I got you.
Like
otherwise, really.
The drawback to that, there is a drawback to that. Now sometimes you gotta go. You get the splashback. Yeah, the splashback.
That's what I'm saying. The splashback. What's that about? Whereas I suppose with us, you have a drop, and it's like there is an actual, a drop, and there's water in the bottom of the toilet, but it's not all the way up to like.
Well, it's not all the way up to our balls either, but
it is, man. It's weird. I'm like, what?
If you got a big load, man, and that just is in open air, that's going to smell the whole.
One thing that I can't
up. The other thing on the bathroom, the other thing as well that we're talking about is stalls. Like, we had this conversation I think before, but you have holes in your stalls in the side that you can see. Yeah, like you've got a partition in the stall that you can see into the stall, and someone's like not see the whole way in, but you can see someone's in the stall.
You see something, you're like, okay, that one's.
I think those holes you're seeing, Scott, are for some other purpose entirely.
No, not that one. No, not that hole. No, but in ours, it's enclosed. Right? What I'm saying is, it's an enclosed capsule, so you cannot see anybody having, you doing the business.
But that's my parents just got one of those. Was it
a bidet?
The bidet. Yeah, I installed it. I installed it for my parents, and it's nice.
I must say, when I went to Europe, I did enjoy the bidet. That was a nice sensation.
The fourth thing that's very strange to us Europeans.
Before you go further, I will say something as an American. I'm talking directly to the inventor of the low flow toilet. The fuck is wrong with you? Do you know what a fucking toilet is supposed to do? Jesus. All right, and now continue, Scott.
It's all right, no worries, mate. The fourth thing that's a bit strange: signing a receipt for a bill or check.
Yes.
In a bar.
Yes.
So you go, oh yeah, you done? And I'm like, yeah. Or, do you want to pay it on you cannot? Are you having a round? Are you keeping a tab open? And it's like, no, I'm not. I'm not keeping a tab open. Okay. Then she comes back with this little book and says, there you go. It's 1972. go and sign your check.
1972. Where are you eating?
I'm like, what the hell's going on? What's
I think
going on here?
there's a little bit of confusion on the Europeans' part about this. Okay, so
yeah, man,
when you get a bill and you pay
that.
with a credit card, and this helps with fraud. Okay,
right. All right.
So
okay.
They can, you know, if you're like, okay, I didn't do this, they can trace that back. Okay, now if you're paying with cash, they don't make you sign anything.
Okay.
But if you pay with
electronic signature, they don't look anything like a signature. I just put my finger on there, and they.
No, but then that's so you have tablets, if you like, now to go electronically sign it.
Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. Whereas we have straight up, beep, bye bye, done, contactless payment. See you later.
Yeah, we just got chips on our
card. We're there's some places that are starting to do that now, but
unbelievable.
You got to pay. You got to pay for that. You got to pay.
Here's the thing about the U.S. It's all about profit. Yeah. And for credit card companies and these other fucking companies, it costs less to pay the fraud than it does to fucking fix the problem.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
I understand now. That's
and whether or not businesses, they don't care about that. Everything in this country, when you're talking about most big products, the cost of the lawsuit when it fucking kills somebody is built into the fucking price.
And also, to go on that, every time or for businesses, every time you use a card, swipe a card, the company that has the Verifone, they get a piece of that money.
Oh yeah, they get charged. Yeah, I know it. Yeah.
Every time, time it's used, it's a small percentage, but that shit adds up.
So when you go, so like when I went to Rocket Bar the first time, I had my card out ready, and I'm like, right, I've got a round in, perfect. I'm like going to tap, and he's like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "I'll give you your bill." And I'm like, "Oh, okay. What? You're giving me this?" And I look, this is weird. I'm like, "Okay, fine."
It could be. It could be.
When you're somebody like me, though, if you sign that check, you have a chance that they won't charge you because they'll go, "John Damon signed my check."
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
It's also too like with the tap thing. More and more businesses are doing that, but still, I mean, the business has got to pay for that to be able to actually do that.
I don't know how they do it over here, or in the whole of Europe. Or I even did. Listen, Jesse, I even did this in Tunisia. That's how fucking backwards this is.
Tunisia.
You guys are in the it's still living in the 80s with keeping receipts and checks.
Oh yeah,
it's totally mad to us. I'm like,
we don't even know what Tunisia is, but this is what you're paying.
Good evening. Fried enough to eat today? Boy, I'll say. Well, that's great. Would you care for some ham or beef? A little both, I think. All right.
Tell you something. That kind of banter does not come treat. Right. That guy goes through training to learn how to say things like, "Did you watch the game last night? Is it still hot out? Oh, wait, it's February. Do you want an ice cream sundae?" These are the things that you're buying.
The fourth thing for me is power supply. How on earth are you guys on 120 and we're on 240? And you have plugs that you have 2 prongs on, and then you plug the plug in, and it's like, do you have 3-pin plugs?
Sure.
Well, yeah, you got a ground.
Plugs.
You got a ground.
2 and a ground. Yeah.
So 2 and a ground, okay, but you haven't. But that's constantly drawing energy from that ground. So we have plugs on our plug system. They have a switch that you can switch a plug off.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And that will never have electricity in it again. And every plug that we have.
I can see a plug. Oh wait, that was not the same plug you were talking about.
It wasn't. Yeah, so it has 3 pins. So that's our 3-pin plug into 240 like that. So that's an iPhone.
Let me explain this, okay? Benjamin motherfucking Franklin, U.S. citizen, invented the.
He invented electricity. Don't forget it.
In the USA.
Invented
so let's just let's just stop right there.
You'd have to ask Kyle when you see him. He's an electrician. Why they started at 120?
Why are you still using terrible electricity?
We have 120s. We got 210s. We got 180s. Yeah,
it's about cost. They're not going to revamp any kind of. They talk about infrastructure. They don't do jack shit about it. No. Nothing gets done about it because that shit costs money. I'm telling you. I live in Maryland. right? The roads that are out here in front of me all over the place are covered
Yeah.
with this macadam, okay? This is a nice black soft surface, okay? And as soon as the sun comes out, it looks like a fucking silver ribbon and you can't goddamn see anything. And it potholes up and gets all kinds of cracks in it so that they have to keep
Maryland roads are
top
fucking awful.
security.
That's the one thing about Virginia, at least in my area.
Yeah.
They fix shit quick.
Maryland roads are constantly under construction, and that's why, because they build things to not last. Our country is not about anything that's quality anymore, Scott. We are about money.
Yep.
Money.
Understood. And
That's
the last thing that I got, which was a bit of a bonus thing, is why on earth do you pay taxes on everything you buy
Not
in
everything.
a shop or a
everything.
supermarket? So mad. Like, how the hell do you work out the math on that straight away? Like, I go to the I go to the 7-Eleven with you, and it's like, oh, I'm going to buy a chocolate bar and a Gatorade and whatever else. And it's like, okay, I'm looking at how much. Yeah, I'm looking at how much this is, yeah, and I'm like, all right, yeah, that's like $6. That's fine. You get to the till, $7.80. What the fuck? Where's $1.80 come from? Whereas when we look at a price in the supermarket, everything is included. That is the price you pay. So if it's £1.20, you get to the till and you're paying £1.20 for that item because you added in value added tax, as we call it, or VAT. And that is completely added in. And the only things you don't pay VAT on is children's clothes and cakes, weirdly enough. So yeah, it's one of them. They're the only things, and sanitary products and things like that. So
It changes from state to state.
Yeah.
That's why.
I know,
Here,
but how do
here
you
in
work that
Maryland,
out?
you don't pay groceries. You don't pay tax on groceries at all, unless it's
Right,
already
okay.
prepared food.
Here in Virginia, you do.
You don't pay tax on clothing
because we live in a Commonwealth. Everything's
in a Commonwealth.
taxed. Everything's fucking taxed.
See, listen to Paulie, that overtaxed. Mate, are you serious? Have you been to the UK? You need to get across here. Stop complaining about your $3.50 for a fucking gallon of gas when I'm paying nearly $11 for that. Mate, it is absolutely outrageous over here for the price of fuel. That is one thing that just pisses me off when I see my American cousins on Twitter complaining that they're paying nearly $4 a gallon. Mate, it's £1.60, which is $2 nearly for a litre. A litre. There is 5.6 litres in a gallon.
This is
So
your
work
problem.
that out.
Hey, this is your problem.
Unbelievable.
People keep going with this fucking metric system. It makes it easy for them to rip you off. That's
And
what
then
the
you've got,
problem.
then you've got income, then you've got income tax, then you've got council tax, then you've got state tax, then you've got everything else. It is wild over here.
On some things, it depends on where you are.
I talk to dudes.
I'm an avid Costcoer, and we do not pay tax in Costco.
You don't pay tax at Costco. That's amazing. Yeah, that metric thing is. I understand where you're going there, Paulie. But no, in all seriousness, if you came over here, mate, you'd be riding a horse because there's no way you would be in a car. It is mental over here, the amount we are taxed. It is wild. And tax, in my opinion, is theft. But there you go. That's just my opinion.
Well, you got services to pay for. And
Why should you tax? I get that, but why should you pay that? I mean, what are they fixing?
It's the thing. Like property taxes, like with the municipality, that I work for, they just did a tax assessment for property, and it went up 33%. 33%. But the last time we did a tax assessment, it was 12 years ago.
Talking about
to do it before.
June, we are talking about taxes.
Welcome to the Bleeding Burgundy podcast.
We need to start. We need to start another podcast.
Finance podcast.
And how about just called bullshit? Let's just
lizard people and how like conspiracy theories. I'd be all over that shit.
Tell you what, I got a video. This is Cody Black.
Scouts.
Going out of the pistol this time to McCaffrey. Another carry and another good run, and he burrows down. Seemingly has enough for another first down.
I figured that would stop the tax.
Yeah, there you go. And that's the tax.
Anytime you got taxes coming up. As a matter of fact, I went to my accountant because, back in March, and as soon as she started talking about it, I just showed her a chicken with arms on it. And I said, that's it. I'm not talking.
He's absolutely right, though. I mean, look at your salary, what you would earn out there. Look at mine, Indeed. If I'm over there, I'm earning $100K a year.
Well, I'll tell you what, Scott.
We don't drink as much.
Got to travel down to Mexico, sneak in, and then we'll give you a decent job picking plums. And and you can afford some gas.
Well, that's true. I mean, I could afford some gas then. Yeah, you're right. But it's just that's why I've got an electric car, John. Yeah, it's even worse. But here you go. It's
I'll tell you what. I'll give you a counter list the things that I found weird about Europe when I was in Europe. Hey, the lack of fat people. What the fuck? What the fuck? Where the fuck are all your goddamn big fat people? There wasn't a single rascal at the grocery store when I was in Switzerland.
We are this in Switzerland, correct? In the UK, we are the second fattest country in the world.
We're number one.
Yeah, correct.
We're number one.
So there is no doubt about it. I mean, look, I'm carrying a bit too much beef, that's for sure. But we are in that same place. But there you go. All right,
so
all our coaches
question for Karen. Is he really carrying a lot of beef?
I am.
And also,
I
follow up. Did he buy some vodka last weekend?
Hey.
We got to find out about that.
But yeah, I mean, so that's your Switzerland. You're not going to see many. You're going to see a lot of skinny people.
Well, one thing I noticed when I came back to the United, I've been to Europe once. I came back as soon as I walked out of the plane and into the Philadelphia concourse. Just the smell of fast frying food, of fucking cooking oil, was overwhelming. The smell of like French fry vats and shit. It's like, oh my God, holy shit. So yeah, I mean, you know what? I carry
that's freedom, John.
But you know, when I was talking with my good friend Tom about this today, he was asking me why don't people, you know, why aren't women allowed to run around topless? And I got to tell you, I've been to Walmart. I don't want to see most of you topless. Okay, Scott, stand up and show us your W. Show us them pointy ass drippy tits. I don't want to see most of you. That's why whenever right now it's Pride Month, people get all angry. Oh, these goddamn gays. Look, the gay people only do one thing different than you do, and if you can't stop thinking about it, whose fucking problem is that? Huh? Sure. And by the way, like I said, I've been to Walmart. I've seen a lot of your wives. You ain't got nothing to say. Nothing to say. Whatever you think the gays are doing, you're doing it with that. And that's about all I got left.
Depends on where you go. Some people look like a melted wheelie bin. Yeah, you're right.
Oh, dude, I'm telling you what, a melted wheelie bin, you're right. And I'm going to tell you, if they did pass a law in the United States that said women could go topless, I would never go to Walmart. Ever. It would be like a fucking nuclear zone. There's no way I'd go in there. Horrifying.
Yeah, it's bad. Especially in I mean, I don't know the surroundings of where John lives, but in my neighborhood,
dude, I live in Southern Maryland. Yeah, it's pretty rough. I go across the bridge over to St. Mary's County and I go into the Walmart and I go, God damn it, is there calories in the water here? What the fuck? I don't get it. How do you get fat?
How are you surviving with the tornadoes, by the way, John? Yeah.
Oh, I did all right. I didn't come anywhere near me. I was fine.
Did your trash bins get thrown over? Just then that was about it.
I didn't even get a drop of rain. It missed me by about a good 50 miles. So yeah.
Cool. I saw. Oh, there you go. There you go.
Yeah, that's the thing about tornadoes, man. They can fuck some shit up.
Anything else on your counter list? Or are you done? Was it just
that was my counter list? Where the hell are your fat people? And frankly, I don't want to know because I have
I got a counter list. What's up with some people? Some UK are saying sexual and
saying what?
Like sexual.
Sexual?
What's your sexual?
Sexual. Oh,
schedule.
I thought it was like you could say thing like
what you got on your schedule today, there, mate?
It depends where you come from. His schedule.
My schedule goes just about any way I can find it.
It's normally because we actually pronounce the English language correctly because we invented it. But apart from that, and we spell correctly as well. You know, there is a U in colour. But also at the same time, it's accents. I mean, you can go literally 17 miles down the road and the accents change 3 times, and we don't know what to call a bread roll. You know, it's one of them things. There's so many different regionalized accents. You can go down to where Pete Sidorn's from. Pete's from Bristol, or as it's called there, Brizzle. And they've got a right, they've got a right country accent down that side of the country. They talk things like that. They do, I'm telling you. Then you can go a little bit further down, and even in Cornwall, and they are proper shit kickers who want to be, you know, an independent nation of their own and have their own language. Wales with Alids, totally Welsh.
You know, you can have an independent nation, but if you build a corn wall around it, it ain't going to stop anybody, especially crows and pigs. They're coming right through.
Winners. It's full of tin miners. That's where tin came from back in the day. And then
as you can maybe hear that sizzle, my dinner is cooking.
Cool, I'm with you. Yeah. But yeah, it's very strange. That's what the UK is like. But you should call it schedule. Is what you should be calling it.
Call it whatever the fuck you want. I mean, when you're talking to me, if you come up to me closely and say, John, what's your schedule? I'm going to give you a kind of funny look and say, I'm straight. What's up with you? All right. And with that, I think I'm done with the show today. We've touched on practically everything, including we never found out whether Scott got laid last week, but we talked about taxes. We talked about the New York Giants and the resemblance they have to a meat case. We talked about the Philadelphia Eagles. We talked about the Dallas Cowboys, and once again for the 5th time, happy birthday to Deuce. And that's about all I got. If you've been here and been enjoying yourself, I guess you have, because you're still fucking here, and we've been talking about taxes. Scott can't figure out why Buffy wants a better tip, so she's going to sit down at your table and talk to you, but she's not going to talk to your wife. She's going to talk to you, and she's going to do it like this so you can see down her blouse. That's how we make money in this country.
I see. Right, that's what it is then.
I have to teach you how things work around here.
Tits.
That's right. Tits will make you money, except for me. They haven't made me a dime yet. As a matter of fact, every time I try to shake them around, people tell me to get the fuck out of Walmart. And with that, I think we're done. And so then, and really, if you are one of these big fat sweat hogs that go to Walmart, I do apologize. And if you fuck one of them, sorry, buddy.